So I'll be honest with you guys, I was not expecting to love this phone as much as I have been. And that's even as someone who typically prefers Android devices, right? With my Galaxy S25 Ultra, my Galaxy Fold 7, I've reviewed a bunch of Pixel devices, OnePlus, etc, etc, etc. This one takes the cake in the hand and actually like using on a day-to-day basis. Feels amazing. But there are going to be some concessions, so I'm going to break things down into like the smaller concessions and the larger concessions, just so you guys have a well-rounded idea about what you're giving up to have this amazing form factor. If you guys are new here, my name is Dave, and this is where tech meets lifestyle. One of the smaller things is the speaker system here, that being that like there really isn't much of one. There technically is one single mono speaker that's built into the actual earpiece of the iPhone Air, but you're not going to be getting stereo speakers like you're getting on the iPhone, say 17 Pro Max. And the sound quality difference is definitely noticeable. And that's one of those things that I can see for the average populace, a large percent of the average populace probably isn't going to matter too much, because the speakers here aren't like absolute garbage. Like they're solid enough to get you by. Phone calls sound good on here. If you're watching videos yourself, there's not a lot going on around you, it's quiet in your surroundings, it's going to get you by. I can see for a large variety of like average consumers, this probably is not going to be much of a deal breaker, but definitely something you guys should know about. Again, you're spending $1,000 here. I think one of the things to maybe be mildly concerned about is that there is really no thermal solution here for making sure that the phone is cool in situations where, for example, we're still kind of in the part of summer where you're getting 85, 90-degree days, or if you're pushing anything even remotely hard on this, if you're taking lots of pictures, lots of 4K 60 video. The iPhone Air, in my time using this, definitely gets hotter faster than, say, my iPhone 17 Pro Max, which has that vapor chamber in here. This actually does do a really good job of staying cooler and really not passing, like being just like a little bit warm in those more strenuous use cases, especially even compared to like my 25 Ultra, and especially more so compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max from last year. Batteries do not enjoy heat at all. And what that can do is that it can lead to faster degradation of the battery and the battery life that you're getting out of your device. It's too early to tell if that's something that's going to be truly detrimental long term, but what I do know is that historically speaking, the data shows that hotter batteries don't do as well longer term compared to batteries that remain relatively cooler. And even with the battery pack that slaps on the back of this, that gets really warm really quickly too. And so just something to keep an eye on. And the USB-C port is giving you USB 2 speeds, which compared to a large majority of the competition is just like really not good. And frankly, kind of disappointing on a $1,000 phone. Something else that might be more of a small thing is that iPhone Airs are only eSIM. So you no longer have like a little slot to take out the tray to swap the SIM card yourself if you're buying these unlocked. You have to do this through the carrier, but in order to achieve the smaller form factor and maximize the amount of surface area in here for the battery, that's one of those concessions that had to be made. At least now, thankfully, switching from the SIM card in my Galaxy Fold 7 over to the iPhone Air was less painful of a process than it was a year ago. Although having a physical SIM tray is just so much easier because you literally just slide it out and slide a new one and then you're done. It takes like 60 seconds. Another concession that you're getting here on the iPhone Air is that you're not getting millimeter wave 5G. In like super layman's terms, it's like the upper quality, more premium version of 5G, so you're getting lower latencies, faster speeds, and things like that. I feel like for most everyday people, the normal 5G capacity that you're getting out of your iPhone Air is honestly going to suffice. So the tangible features that I do appreciate that they kept here are going to be the actual camera slider that you're getting right here. Even though I'm someone that personally doesn't use that all that often, I do feel like it's one of those features that is tangible and practically useful on a day-to-day basis for the average populace, right? And also I like that they kept the additional button here where you can set it to activate your camera, turn on silent mode, and open different applications and things like that. So getting that really premium center stage selfie camera that you're getting on your Pro and your Pro Max phones. I'm a really big fan of this, and this is one of the premier features I feel like this year for everyday consumers that provides practical and tangible benefit. One of the things I see all the time in my work is how much people want to lean on their support network, be that their family, their friends, sometimes even the internet when life is getting heavy. And honestly, that network is so powerful. Having people that love you and want the best for you is a major driver for growth. But here's the challenge. It is really hard to be fully transparent with the people that are closest to you. There's often fear of being judged or misunderstood, or having your hardships and struggles filtered through their experiences and their expectations. And that's where therapy is different. A good therapist is impartial. They see you as a whole person and help you navigate your hardships without their values and their fears getting in the way. And I've also seen how big of a difference the right therapist makes. When the fit is right, something shifts. You feel safe enough to be fully honest. You feel fully supported and heard. And the work that you're doing starts to feel like it's your journey, built around your goals and the life that you want. And that is where the growth really happens. And that's why I'm glad today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp. And BetterHelp designed their therapist match commitment to make that possible. BetterHelp uses over a decade of matching expertise, clinical experience, and your preferences to help you match you with someone who makes sense for you. And if it's not working out, you can switch at any time, no extra cost. If you've been waiting for the right time to start therapy, this could be your sign. Click the link in my description or go to betterhelp.com/DavidAvelez to get 10% off of your first month and take that step towards the support that you deserve. One thing to consider for sure is that you are only getting that one primary camera on the back here. That means no ultra wide. You have the primary at 26 millimeters, 35, and then 2 times. These shots, when you're using just these lenses here, don't look terrible. I really want to say that you really start to notice things get kind of ugly once you start going beyond like 5 times. Of course, you are getting that 48 megapixels still, but for the most part, this is still going to take those quality iPhone looking images that you're used to getting out of your iPhone. And things just look good. For video, the maximum that you're getting here is 4K 60 and 1080p at 240 frames per second. And again, as a whole for video is the same as pictures, where things just look really good. Apple just does a really good job with that year in and year out. When you go to just like point and shoot, things are gonna look good on your iPhone for sure. Things still look pretty good here when you're using the primary lenses. But not having the telephoto lenses kind of sucks, if I'm being honest, especially on a phone that you're spending $1,000 on. And for me, I think this is one of those larger concessions that would keep this from becoming my daily phone on a day-to-day basis, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Your mileage is going to vary. That's going to be subjective if that's something that's a deal breaker for you or not. But not having like just roughly capable zoom capabilities on my phone, I'm not a big fan of. Now, I know that you're getting the new C1X chip here for the built-in modem in the iPhone Air, and in theory, that's supposed to provide faster speeds, better connectivity, and better coverage. So far, coverage-wise, I haven't noticed any problems, but in terms of normal speeds when I'm trying to load different applications, load videos and things when I'm outside of the house without any access to Wi-Fi, I noticed that my iPhone Air, at least to this point, seems to load those things slower and buffer more often than on my iPhone 17 Pro Max, on my 25 Ultra, on my Fold 7, on my 16. My 16 Pro Max is on the floor over there. I don't know if you follow me. But what I can say is that coverage-wise, that has not been a problem. Now, of course, the most significant concession being made here is the battery. Undoubtedly, you can have a large battery with a phone that is as thin as this, but the battery life here is actually not as bad as I was expecting it to. Just to give you guys an example, right now it is 2:46 p.m. I'm outside about to go run some errands, and right now the battery life that we're getting here is 5 hours worth of screen on time, and right now the battery life that we have here is at 27%.
battery life. And, you know, that's one of those things that undoubtedly, that's one of those concessions that is just going to be made when we have a phone that's this thin. There's a balancing act in terms of what you're kind of getting for this form factor and what you're giving up for this form factor. And so if you're someone that prefers really great battery life on your devices, this is just a device that you're not going to be getting all day battery life on. And that's going to be up to you if that's worth it or not. But again, for $1,000, you definitely would like to see better on your phone.
I do think that in terms of standby time, the optimizations here are really good, and this is going to drain very little battery life. When the screen's not on, you're not really using it. But when you're using this on LTE, the battery does drain quite quickly. And to give you a frame of reference, I woke up this morning, took this off the battery at about 7:30, went to the gym. I was at the gym for about an hour and 40 minutes, I want to say. And when I came back home at around, I think it was like 12 or 12:30, I was looking at like, I think it was like just under 60% battery life. And then from that point onward, today specifically, I've basically been home a large majority of the day, so I've been on Wi-Fi, and on Wi-Fi, the battery life is significantly better. So if you're someone who is able to access that like at your place of work, or if you work from home, the battery is actually going to get you farther along than you would think, given the really thin form factor here. But LTE was clicking through the battery pretty quickly. Now you do have the iPhone Air battery pack here that you can just kind of like slap on to the back of the device. For me, this kind of kills the whole point of the iPhone Air though. This battery pack costs an extra $100. The iPhone Air is already $1,000. And to give you guys kind of like a comparison, now the iPhone Air is actually thicker than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And I feel like that just kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a phone this thin. I mean, maybe if they were able to make the battery pack thinner than that, but now you have a phone that you have to slap this onto, and then you're not getting the higher end processor, you're not getting the extra cameras for the really great ultra wide photos you're getting out of this, for the really great zoom capabilities that you're getting out of this, but you're paying like pretty close to the price point of the 17 Pro Max. And honestly, if we want to go there, at that point, you're better off just getting a 16 Pro Max. And honestly, for me, the battery life on this has always been pretty darn good. So it becomes kind of awkward to actually recommend this to someone, especially when you can buy a 16 Pro Max for, I'm pretty sure, less than what the iPhone Air with the battery pack is going for. Now that being said, you certainly don't have to get the battery pack, right? And it's a phone that you can slap into the wireless charger in your car, or plug in your USB-C port in your car, or on your desk. I'm sure most of you guys have wireless chargers available to you at different points throughout the day, or battery packs, etc. But this is a little awkward. And honestly, in terms of like raw ergonomics, it does actually kind of provide like a little extra lip for grip when you're actually holding the phone. But again, 9 times out of 10, I'd rather just have like the really thin phone because it just feels great. So strange for sure. Yeah, and so far at least, that's pretty much everything. I mean, the iPhone Air genuinely has been a real treat to use. And even though it's not as capable as my iPhone 17 Pro Max in a lot of different ways, I still find myself wishing that the SIM card was in the iPhone Air instead a lot of the times, because it honestly just feels that great in the hand. It's light, it's slim, and it just hugs your hand incredibly well. But on a day-to-day basis, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is still the one I end up having my SIM card in, just because it is a lot more capable in basically every single way. The battery, the cameras. So I'm willing to deal with a chunkier phone to get the better phone. And honestly, I love the way the iPhone 17 Pro Max feels in the hand. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Have a great remainder of your day, and peace, love, adios, and go birds.